Welcome back to Ethereal Material, where the mystical meets the practical.
We are Carla and Priscilla, two professional mediums
Yes, we
discussing the
are.
gap between the seen and the unseen.
And all topics are on the table for discussion. And what we're going to discuss today is one of our favorite things to do, which is tarot cards readings. So I think let's talk a little bit about tarot first.
Okay.
We have two different decks here. This is the Rider-Waite deck, very common, one of the original ones. That's one that I have that is actually made from kind of old paintings. So it's really
Cool.
pretty. And these two happen to have the same major arcana and the minor arcana. Some decks will have their own made up sort of a thing, even if they have the same number of cards. So um, I think tarot decks can get very personal. You know, you can, like, I used this deck here for years and years, and then I was sort of off it. I want to go back to my originals that I've had even longer. So sometimes there can be a little bit of a personality, I think, in a
I trained on that traditional deck like everybody did. Then
Mm.
I read another deck. It's so funny, even I got superstitious and then I read something bad happened. I was like, I can't read this deck again. This is like honestly over 30 years ago.
Mm.
So I never read that deck again. But for 16 years, I've been reading the same deck
Mm.
that I don't have in front of me here, but I've read the same one, which is also based on the major arcana. It's just a little more, it has the major arcana minor and then chakras in it. But it's a
Um,
little more colorful and positive because for me, because I don't know if it's empathic, but what I am is sensitive and I needed to see a little more cheer. Even
yeah,
if I was intuiting something that wasn't fabulous, I could still do that. That didn't bother me, but I needed more color and more
yeah.
verve, if you will. I don't know.
I trained with this deck too, the
Everybody did,
Rider-Waite
yeah.
deck, but the reason I switched to another one, first of all, I just love the pictures of
That's
this one.
cool. I know.
My dog ate that one, so I always know when I'm
Really.
going to get the star. It's got some teeth
That you're
points and
killing me.
corner missing. But the reason I wanted to go to a different, and it's the same as the Rider Waite, the same major
Mhm.
arcana, minor arcana, no additions to it, just different pictures. But I did that because I don't just use the tarot card to interpret what the card says, but to stimulate another psychic or mediumistic. No, I shouldn't say
No.
mediumistic. I don't use mediums. I don't use cards for um, mediumship, excuse me. But I found sometimes when I would do readings for clients, and I'd pull a card, let's say, let's pull let's say the King of Swords up. Oh, how about this one? This one's good. This is the classic card of bankruptcy, right? The Five of Coins, the Five of Pentacles. It's like
Right.
you're walking by sanctuary, you're missing the whole picture. And if I'd pull this in a spread for somebody, they would go, "Oh, I'm going to be bankrupt."
Right. Right.
And I'd be like, "Well, I'm reading the other cards around it.
Right. Right.
What I'm looking at actually is the guy limping. That's psychically what I'm drawn for. So I want to
Right.
talk about the health of your ankles as
Right.
opposed to, bankruptcy." So I switched to cards with a different picture and a little bit of a more hidden label of what the card was because I didn't want my clients to interpret the readings that I was doing for themselves. I mean, anybody can pull cards for themselves,
Right.
but
Yeah, that's an interesting point because I know, and it's with all due respect, people are different. I know people who read cards, studied. I've had people say to me, I've studied tarot 25 years.
yeah,
Okay, I'm a former teacher. Go ahead, study. I think that's
yeah,
good. And they basically live and die by the meaning of the card,
yeah.
what the book said. And I'm not going to tell you I don't do it that way. I read like you. And
Hmm.
I've read since 1993, a
Hmm.
long time. Many classes did it all. For me, I can't read by the meaning only of the card. So when I was reading back in the 90s, I felt restricted.
Yeah,
And I could not hand because I'd be like, I don't care that the card says that. I don't feel
yeah,
this.
yeah.
So a person who lives and dies by the card, now that sounds kind of negative. I'm not knocking the way your wheelhouse runs.
Right,
It just doesn't work for me.
right.
To me, I can't do that because the card might say something and my gut overtakes that.
Hmm.
So it was a game changer for me. I think it was 2010. I believe it was 2010. I was getting read by actually a very well-known psychic medium, was like a lot of books out. And he was bringing through my dad. And he said, your father's here and he's showing me tarot cards and he's throwing them off the table. He goes, do you read cards? I said, I have for a long time. He said, you don't need them. You're a medium. And I was like, really? Wow, I always wanted to be a medium. I've studied it, whatever. And within 5 minutes, I actually was. Um, he picked up, not knowing who I was, not knowing I read cards, that they restricted me
Mhm.
if I had to stick just to the card.
Yeah.
So I'll use the card as a divination, as an inspiration, but I too,
Yeah.
the reason I went into that soliloquy was because if you're a card reader, know that you can handle it either way.
Yeah.
I believe what works for you.
Yeah. I I went so far as to take about 30 index cards, regular old index
Mhm.
cards, and I just drew shapes on them with a Sharpie on one side. And I put like a plus in one corner and a minus in the opposite corner.
Mhm.
So I had kind of a yes or positive or up version of it and a no reversed version of it.
Okay.
And they were shapes like a triangle, a spiral, three circles in a row. I just whatever kind of came up. I didn't want anything that meant I didn't want anything symbolic.
Right, that you
And
could equate to.
I read out of those 30 index cards for a long, long
Wow.
time. I kind of, a lot of people or some clients questions like, well, you can't be a real card reader if you're reading like that. And I was like, well, I can actually
Really very psychic, so yeah,
because they stimulated something in me that I wasn't reading a circle and saying, oh, something circular is going to happen. But if a circle came up as I was focusing on something, or that circle card came up as I was focusing on something, depending upon what else was down there and where I already was psychically, it would tell a story better than some of the restrictions on
yeah,
these.
well, we're similar like that. And I think some people do really, really well reading by the book because then they can't help their intuition
Yeah.
kicking in. I don't care what anyone says. You
Yeah.
know, as a reader, if you've done that, your intuition's kicking in. And they've been very successful. It just doesn't work for you and I.
Right. I think that's probably the same in any spiritual tradition too. If you're reading scripture, are you taking it very literally? Are you taking this as God's word literally, or are you interpreting for yourself in the moment how God might be speaking to you through Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, or Acts or
Well,
Revelation?
that's the exact same, right? Type
Yeah.
of different schools of thought. Some
Right,
will tell you
right.
have to take it literally, and that's the only way to
Right.
be. And the other one will do it the other way.
Right.
So you
And
choose what you
right,
think.
right. I'm certainly not saying one is right and the other is wrong,
Right.
but like you,
Same
for
thing.
me, I need a lot more because the intuition is so non-rational. Following the rational meaning of what
Right.
this strength card is supposed to mean, for example, would often sort of pull me out of my psychic sense. So I'd
Right.
have to
Yes.
really,
It takes away
now I'm
restrict.
thinking, okay, this card
Right.
means, inner strength and healing, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. So why, I found it to be a little bit of an obstruction. So I think it would be a fun experiment now. We did some readings for people here
Do
and
that.
we each pulled a card
Do
and
that.
we show you what the card is and we tell you what the card means if you don't know. And then what it means maybe literally.
Okay, but your cards are different than mine.
You want
So
that one?
I'm not going to know what they exactly mean anymore because I read my deck, right? Which is
right,
different
yeah.
for 16
All right, so
years.
skip what it means.
So
We'll just take our
I know what
interpretation
the,
of it.
and you've got pictures here and,
Yeah.
I understand what the suits are, but the diehard meanings of them, I don't have anymore.
All right.
To the detail like that.
All right.
Except for the major and minor.
So let's just give our interpretation. We'll each pull a card. So somebody
I
listening
like these cards.
will get two, it might be information for you, psychic insight for you from two different directions. They may be
Yes.
pointing to the same thing, or they may be pointing to two different things to be aware of in your life. What do you
Yeah,
think?
so then you want to pull a
I think
card,
okay,
I pull a
pull a
card for
card.
the same person.
Yeah.
So how do we determine which person you
Well, the
pull?
person listening
I
is gonna
know, but it could be like 3 people, but that would mean you take what matches for you as long as it's
That's
not,
right.
one thing, it has to be a lot.
That's right. So let's give 3 or 4 or 5 bits of evidence with each card. Evidence.
Yeah.
Speaking
Well,
meanings with this card, and if you're going along and you can like, yep, that's me. Yep, that's me.
and if
Yep,
it's
that's
not,
me.
then you just wait because
You
you
wait.
be coming up
You
next.
should be coming up next, right?
Okay.
All right.
I can do that.
And what are your thoughts on the shuffling, the cutting, the cut and move it to the left?
Okay, that's good. First of all, people will say if I read them in person and I lay the cards down, they'll say, do you mind if I touch your card? I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I've never had anyone drench themselves in my cards, but I don't have a problem with that. I shuffle the heck out of a card deck. I'm out of control shuffling and I cup them And I tend to cut because I somewhere along the line in my billion years of reading cards,
Yeah.
cut them in three and then grab the middle, hit it on top of the right and go back to the left. Out of habit, I do that. But if I don't feel comfortable, I will do that like 3 times. I really do it on instinct when I'm reading an individual person when I need to stop. You?
I think when I'm going to be using the cards, I'll be handling them, I'll be shuffling them, I'll be just kind of folding them in. When I'm ready to read, I generally pull something off, crack it like this,
Yeah.
cut it, and then pull the one that's on top. So that's generally kind of how
Okay.
I go. But of course, now that I'm put on the
now that
spot,
you
I'm gonna be
said
like,
that,
wait, what am I
what am I
doing?
doing now? Here, I'll split them up and then I'll just pick the color.
So if you're an angel card reader and you want to follow along with us,
That's true.
or you have other cards that aren't right away
Interesting.
or one of the things like this, then pull them along with us and see if we're reading the same person. Okay, so this is going to be
No,
for.
I'm an officially certified angel card reader. I did that whole thing.
Didn't Doreen Virtue like?
Yes, and that's really who I did it with, for the record.
With her.
And yeah, with her conglomerate of whatever I did, because she was quite the thing, but she has left. She has left the building.
She's
I mean left, but left the building.
Not only has she left, but she's disavowed
Yeah.
everything that she created. That was it must be very hard for people who put a lot into. Well, and
No, that's a podcast for another day.
for another day. All right.
Let me write that down to remind us. But yes, so I did do that because I really did believe in studying and learning and going through all the processes before I started. I'd say.
All right, so let's pull a card first on who this is for. So the card that I'm going to pull now is going to describe you, where you are in your life, who you are, what you're dealing with right now, what questions on your mind. So I want to talk about, I pulled the Justice card. So this is one of those cards that I do keep quite aligned with the meaning of the card. And so I feel that you are in the midst of something legal or contractual that is where you're trying to balance the scale. So you at this time in your life are working out something contractual or something legal. And I feel quite positive around this. So I know that you must feel pretty solid about it as well. Like I've got a good chance of coming out ahead of this. And again, it's not necessarily a lawsuit, but you may be filing papers for something. You may be hiring somebody or signing on for a job yourself. So this feels like generally you're in a good place about what this is.
Okay.
Want to pull a card and see something else?
3 of Wands. Now, I'm not familiar with this deck. I know the meaning, but I want to do what I do.
Yeah, do what you do.
Even though this, we'll call it justice,
Mm-hmm.
feels far away, it's not as far as you think. Now, let me just change it for a second, because if you think it's right here, I want you to gain further clarity on that, because even if the answer is right here, you can gain something else from it. So it's kind of like where it's not so far off that you can't have it. But if you think, oh, this is it, this is an easy fix right now, take another look, because clarity will come and it will help you as you move forward.
Cool.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm inspired to follow up.
Okay. Oh, inspiration.
My favorite card. The one we were just joking about, the 5 of coins, the 5 of pentacles. You're not going broke. Don't worry about it. There's no bankruptcy here. What I feel about this is that there is the result of this is almost going to feel like coming in out of the cold. So where you might have been before this contractual stuff, a little bit at sea or a little bit untethered or a little bit directionless even to some extent. I feel that as a result of this, you're going to feel a sense of territory or a sense of home or putting down stakes. So maybe you're buying a house, maybe you're doing something like this, and maybe the process might take a little longer or be a little further out, as Carla said. But it's really a sense of being, I feel embraced and warm with this. So I think hang in there, because even if there's a little bit of a delay or it's a little farther off, you're going to feel quite grounded and at home as a result. Well, that was fun. Let's do another one. Why don't you name our lucky victim with a card?
You said the word victim. I understand you was lucky, but
jokingly.
I'm joking with you. I've known her forever, so I'm just joking. All right, so I even forgot how you did that. I'm just going to do what I do. The 6 of coins. Okay. I really need to vibe. This goes with focus for me. I'm feeling as somebody who is hyper focusing about something that you need focusing on. You do need to focus, but I don't want the hyper focus. So I think you're going to see the shower of coins, the shower of money, and the shower. Hold on, they're making me change it. Not just of money, but feeling more like a sense of calm and success. But I can't have arrogance with it. So keep in mind, whatever you're doing, here's key that confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is confidence. So hold your confidence, let people admire you. There is a sense of lucrativeness, if that's a word, coming, but I need you to hold it without the arrogance.
So if that's you, listen for this next part. This is interesting. Here, I have the Eight of Swords. The meaning of this card is be patient, hold on. You might feel like your hands are tied. You might feel like you don't know where you're going, but be patient because the things that are constricting you are starting to loosen up a little bit. So that's the meaning of the card. What I want to read about this though, if you see right down here, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see she's stepping across the puddle. If you're just listening to the audio version, on the Rider-Waite version, the Eight of Swords has a woman who's straddling like little wetlands. So my psychic sense immediately goes to here, and there's one foot in the water and one foot on the land. And this is talking to me about remove your emotions from this process. Take the emotional investment out of it, or the emotional ownership out of it, like less if you can dissociate a little bit more from the outcome, you're going to have an easier time of getting there, an easier time of reaping those benefits. But if there is a sense, and maybe this is the arrogance as well, a sense of, well, I'm entitled to it, or I deserve it, or a strong high emotion with it, it's going to delay the bounty. So I feel like see if you can, at least in this particular subject, compartmentalize the emotions and be as still and calm and confident. Again, like you said, without the arrogance, without the high emotion, but without the drama, maybe.
Okay. There you have it. I'm
There
gonna
you
leave
have
it
it.
at that.
All right. All right, cool.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
What do you think? Well, let's do one more. I'm having fun.
Yes. Three's good.
Three's good.
I'm
So
good.
I'm going to pull a card, and this will be defining, first of all, who this is for. So when I pull the card, I will tell you what the card is, tell you what the meaning of it is historically, and what I feel about it psychically. So I have the Three of Pentacles, also known as the Three of Coins. So this is for someone who is creating, or the meaning of the card is someone who is starting to learn new skills, starting to teach themselves something for profit. So this is not if you're just learning a hobby just for fun. This is if you're gaining skills for your job or you're going to school. It's not necessarily degree oriented, but if you have decided to learn something to elevate your financial standing. It's very specifically about this. Now, when I look at this, I feel like I want to talk more about developing an instinctual or intuitive skill. Because what I'm looking at here, I'm seeing this one person who's kind of standing up on the bench right here, and the other two on the ground. So there's a sense of kind of wanting to get above the fray, get above the transactional nature of something. So this is for you if you are trying to redefine a relationship or redefine a direction away from the purely transactional and to bring more meaning into your life, a sense of more purpose, a sense of more fulfillment. So maybe you're learning something as a volunteer, and eventually it will bring you profit, but that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it for a sense of fulfillment or purpose. So if that's you, if you are making a shift in your life, very intentionally teaching yourself about something because it feels right or it feels like you're answering a call, this is for you.
Okay, let's add to that and see. Eight of Swords.
She returns.
Okay, so I mean, you're talking about here overthinking and a lot of mental stuff. Okay, I'm going to tell you if you overthink all of this, it's going to absolutely put what I would call like your feet in cement. You're not going anywhere. Thinking is good, strategizing is good, all of this is good. to the point where you cannot move and go forward, it's not happening.
Mm.
So I don't want to say everything's etched in stone, but what I can say is when you're overthinking to the point of being like frozen in time, that's where you're going to stay.
Mm.
It's key to me that you do not do that. It's
Mm.
key. And in fact, I don't even want to say anything more than that. I don't mean to be not verbose because I can be verbose, but to me, that's the biggest thing. Think about it and then know when to take the blindfold off and move forward and take the step.
And I think this very beautifully reflects what I was saying when I was defining the person, that we're getting out of this black and white transactional give and take, that sort of analytical overthinking or rationalizing, and what do I feel like I want to do? Like where am I being guided, or where am I being led? So let me finish up just this particular reading with one more card, because I just feel called to do so. And I have the Chariot. And what this card means in general is the start of a new cycle, strong leadership capabilities. So that, if we were just reading this purely, I would say your efforts are going to result in you being in a leadership position, or being considered an expert, and starting a whole new cycle of change for yourself, but maybe even whatever calling you're being called towards. What I feel about this is, I would say, and this isn't even a red cross here. This is just the design that's here on the Chariot. If you're listening, it's a little
It's
red.
like, yeah,
It looks like a pacifier, really. It does on the card, and that's what my eyes are drawn to. And the reason I want to say the red cross and the pacifier is I feel as though this is probably in a healing. There'll be some healing capabilities, or some very pacifying, not like a baby, but peace bringing, harmony creating, not only for you personally as you pursue this, but maybe a big aspect of what you create with those new skills on that new calling. And yes, there may be, according to the card, explicitly some leadership in there. But I feel like this is going to be deeply healing, not just for you, but for those you interact with. And there's one other thing about this card that I love psychically right now. If you've seen the Rider-Waite, it's a chariot and it has two sphinxes. One is black and one is white. You can see here. And this makes me feel psychically now that you're going to achieve this by harnessing two very different aspects of your personality, or two very different aspects. So of the audience base, or the customer base, or the target that you'll be helping. So you may be putting together, your previous paralegal skills and your new healing ability to put something together. So this really gives me the sense of harnessing two different beasts, and kind of and taking advantage of their power to pull you forward. Whereas they might have seemed like either I go this way or I go that way. This is harnessing them together. So I think I encourage you to stay with that. Oh, that was fun.
You know what I'm thinking?
What?
When I say I'm thinking, it always means what I'm feeling. Is that even though these were pulled for individuals, the governing reading
Mhm.
could really speak to somebody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All three put together is your
Absolutely.
reading. Then you'll be like, oh my gosh, I have that one and I have that one.
Mhm.
And not biased confirmation. We are so practical, it's not funny.
Right.
Meaning when it's really everything for the most part. So I feel that as I'm sitting here, I kept seeing an umbrella in my mind's eye showing that this can encompass for one whole reading.
Yeah. I think if you're listening to this and any of this resonates with you, yeah, take it. But I would agree with you. I think that there's no coincidence in the card that we've pulled, the cards that we've pulled, or how this has all come together. So, we like to do this sort of thing from time to time, do some live streams. So if you have been listening or watching us, you'd be listening to us on Buzzsprout, or Spotify. You'd be watching us on YouTube. And you can reach us at Buzzsprout by sending us fan mail, or you can email us at etherealmaterialpodcast.com or etherealmaterialpod@gmail.com. You can find us on TikTok and on Instagram as well. And tell us if this spoke to you,
share
because
your
we'd love to
story.
hear about it.
And we can't respond to our the fan mail.
Right,
Like
at Buzzsprout,
yeah,
right?
we see it, but there isn't an opportunity for us to. So don't think we're not seeing it.
Right, right. But when people do leave us fan mail and make comments, we often bring you up in subsequent
the podcast,
too, because we like to
absolutely.
answer your
When you
questions
share stories,
if you
sure.
have one. So thanks for joining in. Thanks for tuning in with us, you guys, and we'll see you next week. And in the meantime,
Keep believing
keep questioning,
and keep in touch.
take care. Bye.
Bye.